Something's response was maybe the worst apology I've seen in a while. Just take a listen.
A year prior, I became one of his followers as I had enjoyed his art and wanted to support him. After a few months, he took notice and asked me privately if we'd like to be friends. I said yes, and we began a year-long friendship through private messages.
First off, why are you messaging random people on the internet? You said later in the video that you exercise caution when talking with people on the internet, saying this is literally just another lie.
Immediately comfortable talking to him and making jokes. Ultimately, it would be these jokes at the center of the controversy, but at the time, I thought nothing of them.
It's something was 23 years old, a knowledgeable age of what these comments could do.
Stations were almost entirely sharing in each other's interests, and
the final comment of this clip is pretty concerning. It seems to be an invite to where it's something's live. Although this isn't direct evidence, it could mean something pretty bad.
I never talked to him about anything sexually explicit. Everything he claims falls into sexual topics are passing mentions of art I never described in detail. What he claims are jokes about my kinks? This is true, but only the subject of one of them, burping. I never said anything more than that. Now to explain the context of the messages in this thread. One of our first conversations was about our feelings about people seeing our art. He explained he didn't like the pressure of people being interested in his art, and I responded by telling him I had reservations about people seeing mine, since most of it...
Something then shows us him talking about sexual topics to the victim, a person they barely knew too. This is just downright creepy behavior.
Second image is a continuation. I told him that my drawings featured obscure kinks, but the only one I mentioned in passing was burping, and this in and of itself is not sexually explicit. This was a joke. I practice caution
Literally
when
not
messaging
true.
people and would never send the wrong thing to the wrong person. But before sending that message, I expressed the desire to show more of my art to him. There was an explicit drawing of another ex-friend.
It's something practically just exposed himself in this video at this point, dog. Bro did a Parlo.
What I did send him was this drawing of Charlotte from 1. Before this, we were talking about the ship Trife, or Trophy X Knife from Inanimate Insanity. I mentioned that I had changed my mind about hating it, and he explained that he still did. Since he said a sexual relationship between the two was unusual, I joked about how I didn't agree with it.
He then tries to get sexual, although he quickly changes topic. He does this throughout the video.
This was a conversation about my Smash or Pass videos, directed at different object shows. Will agreed that people should be more upset about those directed at Pokemon rather than mine. I disagreed by joking that I had Rule 34 of Pokemon on my computer. I didn't explain any of these drawings in detail or share them with Will. He mentioned how he told me to stop making these kind of jokes because they made him uncomfortable.
Why are you sharing your creepy kinks to your so-called friend? Isn't that weird to you?
All of this said, I'm genuinely sorry that I had hurt you. While it wasn't my intention to do so, I recognize that you have been permanently changed by what I've done.
This does not sound genuine, and it seems that it's something only feels bad because he got exposed. Overall, it's something tries to put blame on the victim suddenly and only apologize because people heard of this.